Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today for the first ever SJSU Virtual Student Organization Kickoff. My name is Jordan Webb, and I serve as the Student Engagement Coordinator for recognized student organizations in the Office of Student Involvement. I'm extremely excited to be here with you today. Before we begin, we would like to start by knowing who's with us in the room today. In a moment, the following question will appear on your screen. Please share with us your year or affiliation with SJSU, and we will give folks about 30 seconds to respond, just to see who is in the room with us today. And I'll just take this time to say good morning to all of you and thank you for joining us. Really excited for what we have set up today. We're taking some more of the polling. It looks like we've got, let's see what we have here. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Looks like we have mostly first years or Frosh with us. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited that you are taking this step to learn a little bit more about our community, exactly what's available to you here at SJSU. Great, we do have some faculty and staff members as well, and some upperclassmen. So I'm really glad to see some diversity in who's here today. And if you are a faculty or staff member, please take this information with you to whoever your constituents and students are. I believe we have one more poll. So let's take one more opportunity to see exactly why you're here today. There is a lot going on with our student organization community. And so to get a better sense of what you're looking for out of today, let us know what brought you here. We'll leave about 10 more seconds for folks to respond. Perfect. All right. Well, we've got some great diversity in why folks are here. So we have some folks here, that wanted to sit through presentations of all 350 orgs. Unfortunately, we can't get through that type of thing in 2 hours. We might be here for a few days if that was the case. But yeah, hearing from student leaders also, you're gonna see some wonderful panelists as well that will tell you about their experiences. But yeah, a good kind of diverse group of who we have joining us today. So thank you so much. And yeah, once again, a little bit more about what we're gonna be talking about today in the virtual student organization kickoff. During today's webinar, students will be introduced to the student organization community at San Jose State, including the 5 different categories of organizations. You'll also hear from student leaders in some of our organizations about their experiences, and they'll tell you more about how to join our organizations and how to learn more about upcoming events and opportunities with individual organizations. Finally, before we get into the actual presentation, we wanted to take just a minute to go over some Zoom webinar features and let you know what to expect from our time together today. If you have questions at any point during our presentation, you can use the question and answer feature. Although you'll be able to see and hear all of the presenters, attendees will not be able to use audio or video to interact with us. Clicking on the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen in Zoom will allow you to write in your questions. Lastly, closed captions are available. If you would like to view captions during the webinar, please click the captions button at the bottom of your screen. Finally, please be mindful that the session is being recorded and will be emailed to anyone that registered for this webinar. The SJSU Virtual Student Organization Kickoff is brought to you by the Student Involvement Office. Student involvement supports a wide variety of activities that students can participate in. Student involvement as a resource can help students get connected to recognized student organizations, fraternity and sorority life, campus programs and events such as the Weeks of Welcome series of programs, and leadership development opportunities. These activities are a great complement to your classroom experience and an exciting part of student life at SJSU. On this slide, you'll see SJSU's campus map. The Student Involvement Office can be found in the Student Union, located in the northeast corner of campus. Once you get to the Student Union, you can find our welcome desk, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen here. You can find our welcome desk across from the Jamba Juice. We hope to see you there once we are able to return to campus. San Jose State University is home to over 350 student clubs and organizations. These organizations are formally referred to as recognized student organizations, and this status acknowledges that these organizations and their student leaders have submitted information and completed training that ensures compliance with CSU policies and procedures. If an organization is recognized, they are able to formally interact with the university and operate as an organization. If an organization is not recognized, they are not cleared for students to participate in them. It is recommended that students do not affiliate with organizations that are not recognized, as these organizations do not have accountability with the university for the health and safety of students. Recognized student organizations contribute to the San Jose State community by giving students opportunities to network and connect with each other, and develop skills and interests outside of the classroom that contribute to a well-rounded and successful experience after they leave university. Throughout our time today, we'll hear from various current SJSU students about their involvements in our organizations and the experiences they have had along the way. Now I'd love to take this time and opportunity for our student panelists joining in today to introduce themselves. So if you don't have your cameras on, everyone, feel free to turn them on now. Besides our Q&A folks, we will also have a few student involvement staff on this webinar as well, answering your questions in the Q&A. But if you're a student panelist, yeah, please put your video on so we can see you, and include your year, name, major, and any organizations that you're involved with. And let's begin with Na. You're muted.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Nhã, and I'm currently a junior major in industrial technology, concentrating manufacturing system. I'm also the president of the year for SAIC, it's Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers. So our society, our club is academic organization, and we are a chapter from San Jose State. And yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm a second year who majors in computer science. I'm the social media manager for a Spartan Fencing Club.
Thanks, Catherine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rena, and I am president of Black Honor Society on campus. Summer is also part of Black Honor Society, but we'll see if she'll be able to make it today. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys about student organizations at SJSU and learning more about BHS and other cultural and religious organizations.
Thanks for that.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Escobar Reyes. I am a transfer student at San Jose State. I am a senior and I am majoring in sociology, minoring in psychology. I am a sister part of Sigma Pi Alpha sorority, and hopefully I get to meet you guys and be able to talk a little bit more about the sorority and frat life at SJSU.
Thanks, Jessica.
What's up? My name's Ed. I'm a graduating senior in the IT program here at SJSU. I'm also the president of the Game Development Club here on campus, and yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. Let's start now with our academic organizations.
So academic organization, the first specific community that we will highlight today are our academic organization and honor society. Since SJSU has an extremely varied and diverse lineup of academic subjects that students can choose to major in or concentrate in, there are many organizations in our community that are focused on particular major or academic field or study. Additionally, some majors and fields of study have official chapters for their National Honor Society, which generally recognize students with outstanding academic achievements in their major or field of study. In general, these organizations are great ways for Spartans to learn more about potential career fields, network with both fellow students and industry connections, and to gain support and guidance in academic classes and long-term planning. Example of common events hosted by academic organizations and honor societies or industry tours with companies and informational panels with professionals from industry or major of focus.
Awesome. Thanks, Na. Thanks for that brief introduction of what an academic organization or an honor society, kind of the focus of these types of organizations. So can you tell me a little bit more about SACE specifically? And if you didn't catch that before, SACE stands for the Society of Asian Engineers and Scientists. So tell me a little bit more about those kinds of opportunities within your organization. Yeah, how do people get more involved, or what types of events do you usually do?
Oh, sure. So STATE is stand between academic and culture organizations. So we're gonna offer you, we have 2 upcoming programs, which are mentorship and Kickstarter programs. We also offer like professional development, career panel and workshop in the future. And we're gonna also have a lot of cultural events where it's kind of like the bonding section between members and the officers. And yeah, that pretty much what we're gonna offer for now. And you also have like a lot of like the opportunity to do some kind of like teamwork projects through the Kickstarters, and that's also can be fit into a resume. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And you brought up a few things that I think are pretty indicative of our academic organizations overall. A lot of them have something, as you were saying, about a mentorship program, where if you're a new student to your major or your field or whatever that might be, you know, you can link up with a current student that has taken the classes that you are taking right now and can kind of give you those pointers. As well as you were talking about professional development too. So, you know, each kind of field that you might go into after SJSU has its own rules and the way that it might do things and the best way to present your resume or yourself in an interview and things like that. And so a lot of the academic organizations, that's a component too, right? Of how do we prepare you, not just with knowledge, but how you carry yourself and the networking opportunities that come with things like that. So thank you for sharing, yeah, and for representing academic organizations for us. And you made an interesting connection between our academic and cultural organizations. This is a good opportunity to point out that all of our organizations aren't necessarily in one category or another. So you're representing us today for our academic organizations, but there is also that cultural component of how you bring folks together that identify as Asian American. So yes, thank you for being here with us. Let's talk about our next category of student organizations, which are club sports.
All right, so yeah, so we're not sports club, but like there's 3 types of sports available at SJSU. Like the first one is intercollegiate athletics, where students from around the world get recruited to play and get scholarships to play sports on behalf of the university. Intramural sports are teams that are created for fun and they get to compete against like fellow SJSU students. And club sports is the in-between of those two and represent all non-varsity sports with a focus on leadership development. So within sports club sports, there are like traditional sports and athletic competitions, esports and dancing. These clubs are student funded and student organized. So in addition, they get extra funding to hire coaches and like travel to national tournaments. So by joining any club under like club sports, you join a family of 37 diverse clubs that represent our university through intercollegiate competition. And finally, at the end of each year, we come together at Club Sports Awards Night to celebrate our achievements as individual clubs and as a whole. So as of the moment, like in-person practices are not happening because of the current pandemic, but our teams are still eager to get new potential members and additions to the club. If you're curious about joining a sports club, just search up sjsusports.com just to see the full list of sports that you can join today. Just please note that club sports have like additional responsibilities and requirements of both their organizations and members due to the added risk and liability of traveling and competing with other campuses.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine. That was a really good overview of what club sports mean and a little bit about SJSU specifically. I guess a question I have for you is, what exactly is fencing? Because I've seen things like in cartoons and I don't know, in media and things like that, but do you want to explain that a little bit more of specifically what fencing is and maybe what your club does?
Yeah, sure. Like fencing is a fast-paced sport that combines physical prowess and intelligence. Like a lot of people like to compare it to like physical chess because both your mind and body are working together. Like through swordplay, movement, and cunning tactics, fencing improves your concentration and self-discipline. It teaches you the importance of like goal setting and how to stand up for yourself. And we have like meetings every week just to update the club on what's really going on and what exactly we're trying to do right now. And we also have like a workout schedule for our members and anyone who is like interested in joining the club. Like because most of us are at home right now, this routine can be done anywhere, and we're hoping that this could help us like transition smoothly into the spring semester where we can actually do the real thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would have assumed if I didn't know anything, I would have said, oh, well, you know, sports clubs, they're probably not doing anything, right? Because of just everything going on around us. So that's really good to know that if you're interested in one of these organizations, that they're still, they still have activities that they're offering to folks. And yeah, and it might be something you're not familiar with. So like a workout from home or something like that. But yeah, it's good to know that we're still creating community so that once we can come back and do the actual fencing, volleyball, whatever the sport is, that you're prepared and that you already know the people that you're going to be playing with. So that's great. Thank you, Catherine. I really appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit now about our next category of organizations, which are cultural religious organizations.
Yeah, hi everyone. So at San Jose State University, we have a variety of cultural and religious organizations. We have a wide scope of race and ethnic communities that represent our student organizations, and given students of particular demographics and ability to congregate, network, and develop social connections is one of the great things about our campus's many clubs and orgs focused on cultural and religious elements. In addition to that, we have a number of faith-based groups that can help students find community with fellow students of similar beliefs and religious goals. These organizations can be quite invaluable in helping students become more attuned to their personal beliefs and allow students to find a space for self-expression in line with the tenets of their cultural backgrounds and religious beliefs.
Great. Thank you, Rana. Really excited to have you with us today representing Black Honor Society. And I know you have to run in about 5 minutes because you have class, but this is a great opportunity for us to chat a little bit about your organization. And we do have another representative, as we mentioned in the introductions, Summer, who hopefully will be here later to be a part of the student panel to tell us a little bit more about her experiences. But do you want to tell us a little bit more about Black Honor Society, Rana?
Yeah, of course. So Black Honor Society is a club dedicated to building a collective and united academic and community-driven Black student body at San Jose State. BHS focuses on helping grow and uplift the African American and Black student population, along with any campus individual who wishes to benefit from the many social, academic, and professional enrichment opportunities offered throughout our organization. So we're not just limited to, Black and African American students. We're open to all students, because our club is also an academic organization. We offer many different resources and events focused on academic and professional enrichment that could be beneficial to anyone. And though we stress the importance of getting good grades, unlike many honor society, our club's ideals towards building a successful program are not narrow to GPA so much as a desire to foster an interactive, resourceful, and creative community. BHS will be hosting an array of events this semester, from resume build-up sessions to our Black Alliance of Mentorship program, and even our new and very exciting bi-weekly career exploration series, where we will be watching some really cool films, documentaries, and see what it's like to work within different professions and hold discussions on them and get to know opportunities within our campus that students could take to further dive into those careers or those opportunities. And if anyone here would like to further know more about BHS, I'm going to put my email down below if you'd like to contact me personally or any of our board members. And I'll also share our membership form, so that you get to, get updates and we could keep you guys posted.
Awesome. It sounds like there are tons of things in the works for your organization. Very exciting. So thank you for telling us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Are there any specific on-campus departments or anything like that? Can you tell us a little bit more about what support you get from the university on that end? Are there any departments that you work specifically with or anything like that?
Yeah, so we host right now our BAM, our Black Alliance of Mentorship program, alongside the African American Black community, African American Black Student Success Center on campus. And so we do a lot of events with the center, and we also have a really great connection with a lot of the faculty there, and we're able to really connect and bond within our events for our career exploration series as well and stuff. So a lot of us are working together to make these events happen.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's good to know, that there are specific departments on campus. If there is a specific culture that you might identify with, or a religious practice that you might observe, that there's likely a department on campus that is assisting organizations to connect with students, or to help create that community around whatever that specific cultural or religious identity is. So thank you for sharing that, and kind of how Black Honor Society fits into the landscape of SJSU. And I know you have to run to class now, virtually run to class. So thank you for being with us, and hopefully Summer checks in with us later so she can tell us
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, we are now ready to, we've gone through 3 of our 5 categories. Now it's time to learn a little bit more about fraternity and sorority life at San Jose State.
Yeah, so my name, like I mentioned, is Jessica. A little bit about the fraternity and sorority life at SJSU. They do help to enhance leadership and academic skills amongst students. And it's also a great opportunity to make college a little bit memorable. You build a lot of friendships, you have a lot of connections, academic-wise and social-wise. We do have different categories of sororities and fraternities at SJSU. So we have USFC, which is the United Sorority and Fraternity Council. We have Panhellenic, Interfraternity, and the National Panhellenic Councils. I am part of USFC, and a little bit about USFC night and info night. Usually what we do is you get to meet all the fraternities and sororities on campus, and then we also have little dance-offs. We present ourselves to incoming students and to students that are continuing in school. A little bit about the sorority that I'm part of is Sigma Pi Alpha. Our sorority has 3 pillars, pretty much their campus involvement. We have community service and sisterhood. We are really diverse, so a lot of our sisters, you could get in contact with a lot of our sisters that could help you in different fields, and they could show you the ropes around, all over California. A little bit more about Sigma Pi Alpha at the moment. We won't be recruiting this semester, but we will be live through Zoom and on Instagram. And you could always get in contact with us on Instagram. It'll be at SJSU_ELLAAS, which is AS. We'll be live on there. And yeah, and I'll leave my email down below in case anyone wants to get in contact with me.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, that was a great overview of kind of your council and your organization. I'll chime in just a little bit more about fraternity and sorority life at San Jose State. So fraternities and sororities are social organizations that usually have a connection to a larger national or regional organization. Fraternities and sororities are exclusive men's and women's organizations with a series of steps the students must complete before becoming a member, and that's referred to as the new member process. So when Jessica was talking about Sigma Pi Alpha and whether or not they're recruiting, it sounds like this semester, they are not recruiting, so they would not have a new member process for this semester. And this varies by organization, just based on the needs of the organization and that kind of thing. Not all fraternities and sororities at San Jose State have a house or chapter facility where members can live. The expectation is that fraternal organizations like these contribute positively to the SJSU community and beyond. And these organizations provide community through their commitment to siblinghood, whether that's brother or sisterhood, service and philanthropy events, scholarship, and the offering of leadership and networking opportunities. And membership in these organizations, it's a little bit different, is intended to be a lifelong commitment that extends beyond your time as a college student. So if you become a part of a fraternity or a sorority during your college experience, that's a community that you can continue to be a part of after you leave the university. And you depending on the organization, you can find folks from that same organization across the globe potentially. Great. Well, thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate that. It was really great to hear about Sigma Pi Alpha and USFC, or United Sorority and Fraternity Council Night. So again, that info night on your screen is Wednesday, the 3rd from 6 to 7:30. It's usually a great event, so I'm really excited to see how it's gonna go this fall. Great. And we're ready to talk about our final category of organizations here, which are special interest organizations.
Yeah, so the last category is our community of organizations with special interests. Organizations in this category might be centered around a specific hobby or interest, such as video games, sports, or other activities. The special interest category also includes organizations with passions or interests about a specific topic or activism issue. This is a very diverse category with many different ideas and issues to explore.
Yes, it is, Ed. Thank you. Yeah, and that's kind of the nature of a special interest, right? It doesn't really lend itself to a category in itself. So it's kind of all of these passions and things like that you've developed as a person, and these organizations that fit into this category are usually for that specific purpose, or helping you to kind of like foster that passion that you have, or even to let you know about a topic that you might not have known about before. So that brings us to Game Development Club. So tell us a little bit more. How did you get involved with that? Like, were you interested in game design prior to coming to SJSU?
I think a lot of people, generally speaking, in game development, we're all like gamers at heart. And so a lot of people coming into college might think of extending that like desire to actually like from playing games to actually like try making it and see what it's like. I was kind of of that same boat. And so I think I just like Googled real quick, like, oh, you know, is game development a thing here? And when I found it, I very, you know, as like a freshman or something, I very shyly just like went up to the club meeting spot and just like timidly just said what's up to all these different people. I think a lot of freshmen will find that that's a little like intimidating, but like the results can be like immensely beneficial.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
And yeah, if I could talk a little bit more about like the club itself, I guess.
Absolutely.
Just as, like a little plug. Like it says, we're basically a project or community-based club. So we aim to help our members develop games. We have a bunch of different events to kind of like support and facilitate community. So for instance, we got like casual game nights where we just like play games because, you know, we love playing games. This could be just a bunch of different little party games and stuff. We invite industry speakers to our club. So everything's on Discord these days. And we have these industry speakers from like, we've had like Double Fine, we've had some from EA, and just a bunch of different places. And these guys just kind of give us like advice on like how to get our start and whatnot. And we also go, in the past, we've taken trips to like field trips to companies, gotten company tours. We've done trips to, it's called GDC, Game Developing Conference, which is just like a giant conference room with a bunch of different companies like Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft, just to name a few. And you can kind of just like network with a bunch of people from those companies and see if there's recruiting opportunities. So if you guys are like interested in game development, just hit me up or something. And yeah, that's my plug.
That's great. Yeah, and I believe that Game Development Club submitted materials as a part of this kickoff event. And that'll be towards the end of the presentation today, is how you access all of those materials and things like that. So yeah, and they can reach out to you by email too, but shameless plug for me also to let people know that all of this information is going to be readily available. Would you say the majority of your members are doing game development like as a hobby, as, you know, something that, you know, is kind of just fun for them, they want to learn more about? Or is it more about like, I'm trying to get into this field, like let's perfect my craft type of thing? Is there a balance between those two, or what is it?
It varies. It's all across the spectrum, I guess. We definitely have a lot of people who come in and they've been like working on games since they were in like middle school, and those people are like insane. But we also have people who just, you know, they haven't thought about it, but they suddenly thought like, oh, that's cool, like that exists on campus, so I'll give it a shot. And you'd be surprised by the results sometimes. It's just something worth pursuing for most people. So yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's all not difficulty levels, but however familiar, you don't need to be an expert, you know, to join one of these clubs. That's kind of the whole point of it, that you're learning something, you're developing a cool project, or your knowledge in something. So I'm sure that's a part of it too. Of don't be afraid to reach out to an organization like this just because you don't know everything, or you don't even really know where to begin. Like that's what you're there for, hopefully, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Well, I really appreciate that. Thanks for telling me a little bit more about Game Development Club. And with that, we've learned about all 5 of our organization categories here at SJSU, and we're ready to proceed to our student panel and Q&A portion of the event. As a reminder, all of our student leaders here are going to be saying a little bit more about their experiences at SJSU and in their organizations. We also have the Q&A feature during this time. I'll kind of be checking in on that and seeing if there's any specific questions that we can answer from that Q&A feature. But I guess let's start with our first question, which Ed, you kind of touched on a little bit, but So maybe let's hear from some of our other panelists about how exactly did you hear about your organization and how did you become involved? So who'd like to go first and kind of share that story with us?
I can go first. Yeah. So for SAY, this is a club by College of Engineering. So the College of Engineering, I remember this week is also their club fair. So they got like tabling and then just went there and then meet with SAY and just like sign up like, oh, cool. Because we can learn more, not about academic, but we also can have like some culture bonding.
Cool. So you found out through the College of Engineering, and that college was having a specific event.
Mm-hmm.
For
we have
organizations.
we have a club fair.
Yeah, and that's a great point for me to point out too, is that it isn't just opportunities available through student involvement. There are opportunities all across campus of different organizations affiliated with different departments and different buildings and things like that. So there are so many more opportunities that we can't catalog that are outside of student involvement. So thank you. Anyone else? If Jessica or Catherine, if you want to talk a little bit about how you heard about either Sigma Pi Alpha or Spartan fencing. So
I actually became involved because my sister was a sister from a different school, from a different chapter. So I live in Los Angeles. So you could imagine when I went to San Jose and I didn't know anyone, I was a little terrified, especially being a transfer student and just not knowing anyone from San Jose. But the great thing about sororities and fraternities is that there's a variety of chapters all around, pretty state-wise, national-wise. You could find a lot of fraternities and sororities all around. And so one of the great things about it is that my sister had already known some of the people at San Jose State, and so they were her sisters. And so when I ended up coming to San Jose State, I actually stayed with one of her sisters, and I just realized how many connections you could have without even knowing it. And I just became involved because I saw the many opportunities they offered and the many connections you can make throughout pretty much everywhere you go. It sounds like that made that transition to SJSU a lot easier. So smoothly. Yeah, just knowing that there were people out there that were kind of looking after you. Yeah. Yeah, and it's a good opportunity for us to point out in fraternity and sorority life, if you hear sisters or brothers, in your case, Jessica, it was your biological sister and her sorority sisters. So if you're in the audience, don't get confused about that, that we commonly refer to each other as sister or brother, even if it's not biological. And then you were bringing up how your biological sister it was in your sorority, and that's known as a legacy in fraternity and sorority life. Now, being a legacy, did that make it automatic for you to be a part of your organization, or kind of how did that work? It kind of did, just because my sister has been with them for many years. Even though once you graduate, you could still be involved as an alumni, and that's what she did. So a lot of people kind of know my sister around California. So it did kind of make it a little bit easier for me. Just because when I would mention my sister's name, I'd be like, "Oh, Rosa, I know her." So automatically, it's like, you know, they kind of took me in, and it was a little bit easier. But yeah, it was nice though. It was nice. That's great. Thank you. Anyone else want to share their story of how they came across their organization? Cool. Let's jump to question number 2. So how has involvement in your organization helped you succeed academically? Because, you know, it's been shown in data and statistics that it isn't just an academic organization that you might join and it's beneficial for you to succeed at university. There are all of these skills and opportunities
that are made available to you by being involved in anything that can help you with your academics. So can anyone tell me about how maybe members of your organization support each other academically? Are there any specific academic like events or programs that your organization puts on that help your members? I guess, what does that look like in your organization? How does your organization view that academic component?
I guess for me, it's not directly answering your question, but like since for me, I'm a STEM major, so a lot of the work I put into game development is kind of like a reflection of my ability to work on my field. I'm like somewhat more of a hands-on learner, and so for programming or something for games, it's kind of a nice way of doing something that's not purely academia work. Um, which at times can be like dull and droning, like all that just coursework and stuff. It's like, yeah, gross. But game development is more like passion based, so it feels really good to work on something and see it come to life. And when you kind of do something productive, that's not like something you're forced to do, it can kind of bleed into your motivation to do other things. And so I feel like for me, at least, it helped in that sense.
And I never would have even made that connection that, you're still, you're coding and you really got to pay attention to how you set things up when you're developing a game. I never would have equated that to, that's what you're going to do in STEM, right? So
yeah,
really cool. That's really cool to hear that it's like a fun kind of a fun outlet for you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go next. So in our club, we also offer internship program for like being intern officers. So yeah, I signed up for that and become the intern secretary. So they have like provide me the leadership skill, and like before the COVID-19, we also have the industry tour. So yeah, we can have like we have the Intel tour, and we have the like career panel. And then spend more networking with the professional to the tour and the resume workshop or like the mentorship workshop.
Awesome. Thanks, Na. And it looks like we have one of our panelists was able to join in since the last time that I looked. So, hey, Summer, it's good to see you. I don't know if you want to say a quick hello and a little bit about yourself and the organization you're representing.
Activities and Events Coordinator. I'll be representing the cultural and religious organizations today. I apologize for being late. I had a headache this morning and I just had to rest for a bit before joining, but I'm glad to see all of you today. And I look forward to hearing your questions.
Yeah, and it's not a problem. I'm glad you were able to be with us. We were just in our second question of our student panel. And so we heard a little bit about how folks can succeed academically, whether that is through, a mentorship program or all of these career opportunities, learning about career opportunities, things like that. The second part of this question is about your own academics. And I guess with all of the involvements that you have, being a busy student, you have other responsibilities too, I'm sure. Can anyone talk about how you, just as someone that's really involved and has a lot of responsibilities, how you make sure you're still on top of it with academics? Because I'm sure some folks that are tuning in are like, I want to get involved on campus, but I'm here to learn also. I'm here to get good grades and things like that. So what would you say of how you manage those things? And that can be for anyone.
Share a little piece. So being part of Greek life, you do actually have a academic standard you got to meet as well. So you have to maintain a certain GPA to be involved and certain things like that. So we do have a lot of study nights, for example, in my sorority. We do help each other because we have to maintain that GPA in order to be involved. So we do have a lot of study nights. I personally juggle it a little bit well, just because I also do have a position in the sorority. I am the vice president, and so you do get a lot of perks and a lot of roles that you could be that you could obtain being in the sorority and a fraternity. They look really good on resumes too, but you know, in order to keep those, you have to make sure that you keep your academics up. So it's kind of like it balances out, because you know you want this, so you know you have to do this. So there are ways that I work with my sisters, but we do have a lot of study nights and stuff like that, because academics do come first for us. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to give us some insight how they juggle everything?
So for game development, we have this term known as scoping, which basically refers to like narrowing the focus of our game ideas so they're small and tangible enough to actually be made into something within a given amount of time dedicated to it. So early on during like the planning phase, it kind of comes down to asking yourself questions like, what is my skill set? What is my experience with game development? How comfortable am I with the development softwares? And within a given week, how much time do I really have to spare towards actually, working on my project? So it's just a time management thing. Your answers should give you a good idea of how far you can expect to scope out. Like, you're not gonna make the next Fortnite or like Super Mario Bros or something if you only have like 5 hours to spare every week. So in the end, it all comes down to like your ability to scope or analyze how realistic your goals are. And we try to help you with that, but as long as you do that, your grades won't be punished like too hard, at least.
Yeah, and you can apply that scoping concept to anything in college, right? Like if you're trying to write a 30-page paper or something like that, maybe you can narrow it down to 10 pages. Or so it's cool to hear that there's that like constructive feedback that I think you can take that skill with you into your academic life. So thank you. Does anyone want to say anything about like distance learning specifically and kind of any strategies that you're using during this time? Because for a lot of students tuning in now, this is likely the first time that they're doing it. Yeah, Summer.
So I would say with distance learning, you definitely need to have information like on your own. Like you can't depend on your professors to remind you in class about assignments and such. So I highly recommend that people purchase a planner, fill in their planners, because it can be really difficult to keep up with due dates. I know last semester when we had first like initially switched online, there were memory. So I do recommend that everyone fill in the planner and just use that to essentially make your to-do list for the day and like every day of the week as well.
Yeah, that's great advice. Even if you're not a student, just planning out your life in general too. So does anyone have any similar suggestions of using a planner, calendar, or anything like that?
Yeah, I do agree with Samara. I pretty much carry this everywhere now, but planner does come in handy right now. I also do recommend every morning when you wake up, check Canvas, because there's always something doing. You kind of, with virtual stuff, you kind of, tend to forget deadlines here and there because you don't have the professor in front of you telling you, hey, this is due next week. So I do recommend checking Canvas every morning. Try to get used to it and try to get used to having a planner. It does help a lot with virtual learning.
Great. Thank you. Any other thoughts from our panel on this one? Great. Let's move to question number 3. And I kind of alluded to earlier that being a part of an organization, it can give you skills that you can take with you after SJSU. So for example, if you have an argument with someone in your organization and you kind of, you hash that out and you come to an understanding of like, I'm sorry, you're sorry. That's a skill that you can take with you. Managing conflict. There's always going to be conflict in your life, in whatever profession that you have, in your family life potentially. And so by having that argument, you're flexing this muscle of how do I manage conflict as a person and how do I manage it professionally. So that's one example of like a skill that you can take with you. So I'm really curious if anyone has any like skills like that they want to share, that being a part of your organization or being a leader in your organization has helped you with. There's also, we think about things like public speaking, just how do you carry yourself as a professional or someone of influence. So does anyone have any examples that they can share about those types of things that they think that they're learning right now that might be useful to them after SJSU?
Yeah. So for fencing, there's like, everyone has like their own reason for fencing. And by that, it's usually connected to getting results. And by getting results, you usually have to win your bouts. And these could be for like a lot of different reasons. Like one could be for personal gain, such as like self-empowerment, or like others who want to compete and prove themselves to the world. Like there's a few skills like from fencing that are transferable outside of the sport. Like you'll get better at keeping your cool and standing your ground in tough situations, because fencing is kind of a intense sport. Like you may have like a sword in your hand, but someone else is still coming at you with a weapon, and that forces you to like really stand your ground and like try to fight back. But of course, like there's also like benefits outside of just the sport. Like you can always like step back and remember that this is like a community that you've gotten, and we will support each other outside of like just clubs activities.
Yeah, and as we alluded to before, club sports also have all of these extra layers as far as, you got to think about insurance. When you're traveling, there's all these forms that you got to fill out too. And I'll let people in on a secret. You're never going to stop filling out forms in your life, So it's also, being a part of something like this where there is all this important paperwork that you need to sign, and, bad things happen if you can't follow through on that. So it's also the opportunity to remember to do things like that and to get into that type of routine when you're involved in something, or you're going to go to an event or something of, have I done everything that I need to do? Have I checked every box off of my list that I need to check off? So I wanted to kind of put that spin on it too, but exactly what you were saying, Catherine, about being in a competition with someone and how you carry yourself like with your emotions, and you're not going to win every battle in life, just as you don't in fencing, right? So I'm sure you learned a lot of valuable lessons in that kind of environment. Does anyone else want to share any specific skills, any examples like that? I think that was a great example, Catherine.
So I think since our organization specifically is like group project based, it's it's kind of like on the other side of it, where you're talking about being competitive and like carrying yourself, but it's also like for us it's more about showing, reflecting your ability to work on a team, which is going to be important for wherever you go in life, really. And so for us, we have like groups of maybe 4 people on a team just working on some project that they all hopefully care about. And if you actually get something done, that can be something that you can talk about and really reflects well on your like ability to like communicate, to actually be productive with other people. And for me at least, it fills out a lot of my resume, and so like I think it helps a lot.
Yeah, that's a wonderful point. That the whole group project piece. I think it's funny when people talk about class and they hate group projects, but that's one of the most tangible things, working together as a group, being able to communicate the things that you need and maybe how you can meet the needs of someone else too. So, yeah, there's so much that you can take with you after SJSU because you are always going to be a part of a team. You know, you might get A's on your own right now, but whatever environment you're heading into, there's going to be other people that you're interacting with in 99% of the cases, you know? And so that's a great example of you're able to work on a group project and kind of develop that communication ability and, you know, the ability to meet deadlines or set goals and things like that. And it's something that you actually care about, something that you have a passion in, not like, this professor gave me a group project and, you know, now I have to do it. Because it's something that you have passion in, you know, you have a vested interest in that outcome. And I think it makes you, maybe not try harder is the best way to say it, but you feel better about it once it's all said and done because it's something that you wanted to do and that you were interested in. Yeah, so that group dynamic piece is really, really important. Thank you for bringing that up. Awesome. Any other thoughts about skills that you might learn being in an organization? I think those were some great examples. We got the individual side and we got the group side.
Yeah, so for my group, so as I say before, they had like provide me the leadership skill through the officer internship, and like right now, so we have like work as a team to like plan out like all the event, the programs, and yeah, like also for the upcoming Kickstarter program, we also like have like provide you the have the teamwork skill and also the communication skill because like when you work in team, you have to have the like the strong communication development, and we also like offer the networking skill through the like professional development. Have like for last year we're gonna have the industry tour, so you can make networking with professional. And for now, we're gonna provide have like career panels or resume workshop where you can also like make connection with alumni or like the professional from industry.
Yeah, those are all some great points. And I think one thing that you touched on a little bit was all of this work that you have to do as a leader to put on all of these successful things, you know, so you're talking about event planning of, you know, an industry leader doesn't just show up at your club's doorstep, you know, that you have to put in a bunch of time and energy and to really plan ahead and be proactive when you're doing these types of things like putting on an event or bringing people to campus and things like that. So it also helps you to flex that muscle of, you know, because there's always going to be projects that you need to work on long term. So it's great from that sense too, to see kind of all of the behind the scenes things that go into putting on a bake sale fundraiser, putting on an industry panel, going to a company tour. It's not as easy as it sounds usually, as you know, being student leaders. And so kind of being at the forefront of that and being able to see all of that time and energy that gets put in, it also gives you a better context for when you're put into that type of situation as well. These are great examples, everybody. I really appreciate y'all being a part today. Let's jump to our last question now as a part of the scripted panel, and then we'll take a look at the Q&A and see if there's any more questions in the Q&A. But our final question is just about what advice that you have for folks looking to get involved right now. So everyone on the webinar right now. So try and go back to your first semester here at SJSU, put yourself back into the shoes of an SJSU frosh or new transfer. What would you say to them? Would you say, you know, get involved right away? Join 10 clubs? Should you wait a little bit? Yeah, whoever wants to start with that.
I would say just go for it. Look out for flyers about when the club fairs are, and go around, look around at the clubs, see what might interest you, like jot a list down it depends on the type of person that which you are, whether you want to commit to a certain like club or two, or if you want to branch out. Personally, my advice would be like try as many clubs as possible just to see what you really like and which club you can really like click with. And also don't be afraid to like as a freshman just talk to people like just connect with people around you. Like if you're at the library and you're alone, just like make a friend, be like, oh hey, what's up? Like don't be afraid to do that, because I know for me, for particularly BHS, the reason I heard about it was through a friend that I made. And so if I hadn't known that friend, I wouldn't have even like known anything club or even consider joining the club. So don't be afraid to just make friends and network in general. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, that's great. And especially, you know, as we're in a distance learning environment, that kind of mentality is going to be even more important, because there isn't really a way that we can bring the organizations to you. And so if you're an interested student, it's kind of taking that leap of faith, you know, or just going out there and exploring and seeing what's possible. That's really the only way to know what interests you, is by experiencing these things. And so I think that's a great thing to mention, of not being afraid. A lot of folks are going to be in the same position as you, and we're all just trying to gain information and see what's out there. So yeah, thank you.
Another thing I wanted to add is that you're never going to feel like you're ready. Don't be like, well, I gotta wait till I'm like in the right mindset. Like no one's ever in the right mindset. You just gotta go for it. So don't try to use that as an excuse. You mess up, it's fine. Like everyone is scared and everyone is trying still. And even like org leaders will know that like, hey, I was in your shoes before, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Our student leaders have all been there before, right? At some point, you like you said, you had that friend that connected you, or you might have had that awkward conversation of like, who are you? What is this organization about? You know, so great. That's great. Thank you.
I want to add on to summer. So just step out of your comfort zone, and because we are here for you, so just step out and then enjoy us. You're gonna have a lot of fun, and then make more new friends. So yeah, just step out the comfort zone.
Yeah, thank you.
I would say joining clubs and orgs, it helps you step out of your comfort zone, exactly. But I say reach out to people, look out for flyers. And then one cool thing that I found out my first year at San Jose was on the SAMI app. If you go to the homepage, there's a tab that you can find. It's called clubs and groups and clubs. They have literally all clubs and groups listed on there from SJSU. There's hundreds of clubs. You could find them there. They have short descriptions. They also have people that are in the club that you could get in contact with through the SAMI app. But I do suggest looking through it. That was one cool thing that I found out when I was when it was my first year at San Jose State. And I was able to get in contact with a lot of clubs that I was interested in, and I did end up joining a couple. But I do suggest looking at the SAMI app and going to the tab of groups and clubs.
Thank you for that plug, Jessica. And we're going to talk a little bit more on our last slide about not only the groups and clubs tab, but some other opportunities that we're rolling into this kickoff experience. To, in the same way that you're saying, you know, just go out and seek that information and doing your research, exactly like you said. You know, there's 350 organizations, and you know, I'm not an expert in any of them, but the students that are in those clubs are. And so it's a matter of kind of searching through, seeing maybe on first glance, just like, oh, that sounds interesting. That sounds interesting. I wonder what this is about. Maybe kind of narrowing that list down a little bit. And then once you have kind of that shortened list, maybe you go back in and get some more information of like, okay, what exactly did they say that their description is? Or when did they say that their info meeting was? Maybe I can catch that info meeting. So great, yes. Love hearing that people use the SAMI app. Catherine, I think you were you unmuted? Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, like just any advice to like newcomers is just try out anything that catches your eye, like or anything you always wanted to do but you didn't think it would be possible because it's like super obscure. But the thing is, like you just have to try it and search for it because who knows, like you might find a community or organization of like people who share the same interests as you. And like we're gonna have to, let's face it, like college can be a little stressful at times, so it's all right to have like a little small breaks from it and just enjoy yourself at different clubs and organizations.
Yes, I think that's a very important point to make. We're talking about all these benefits and, you're going to succeed academically and all of this, but, sometimes you just want to have fun too. So I don't want to overshadow that sometimes you want to be a part of something just to have that outlet, to have that, 1 hour meeting where you can talk to people about whatever fun topic it is, or, whatever you did that week. So yes, I know we're saying, oh, you're going to do so great in school and all of this, but the fun piece is definitely important too. Thank you. Cool. Awesome. So that was our final prepared question, but I had the chance to look at the Q&A, and there was a question in there about virtual meetings, or essentially how will meetings work right now? Because obviously we're not all on campus, and normally we would try and have a meeting on campus in the student union or on the lawn. But yeah, so I think a lot of new and incoming students are wondering what exactly that looks like. So can any of you share from your end what those digital meetings might look like as far as the format of them? How are you setting them up? Maybe what the types of platforms that you're using and things like that? And maybe like what happens in a virtual meeting right now, or what are you hoping to accomplish?
I could share a little bit about my part. So for our sorority, we are doing a lot of Zoom meetings right now. That's pretty much like the only way we could really connect with everyone. But Zoom is a really big thing right now. So a lot of Zoom meetings, we will be doing a lot of info nights, a lot of movie nights, just a lot of fun activities that we could do virtually. And then you could get in contact, like I said, through either SAMI app. You could find their Instagrams, like different orgs Instagrams and stuff like that. I know for our sorority, we have our Instagram. You could get in contact there. But I know the big thing right now is Zoom meetings.
Yeah, and that's, the main reason for that is that if you have an SJSU email address, then you have a Zoom account that you can set up for free, so that's the method that I recommend the most, just because, it's built into the services that are offered to you by the university. So Zoom is definitely one of the bigger options, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on another slide. Thank you. Anyone else? Have you had a digital meeting yet? Or if you're thinking about what that might look like, or any digital events in general?
Well, we kind of
oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
thanks. Well, for the fencing club, like we've been splitting it up between Zoom and Discord. Like Zoom is for our informational meetings, like mostly about the club. But then our Discord is used for like game or movie nights. Like we're just like split between those two.
That's good to know. Summer, were you saying something?
Yeah, so for the Black Honor Society, we mainly just been using Zoom because that's really the only thing, like Jessica said, to get everyone to connect at the same time. We have a kickoff event, an informational event this Thursday at 6 o'clock. I'm trying to see if I could drop the flyer into the chat. I don't think it's working. I don't think you can put images.
If that's not working in the chat,
put in the form. And okay, thank you so much.
Sorry about that.
I'll do that. But yeah, you could always Instagram to keep up with events that get added right in. Now we make sure to stay up to date with that. And that's basically what we're using. So for this semester, we're mainly going to be doing like explorations. Series, your students who may not know who their major considering transferring, it's going to be for them. We also have LinkedIn workshops, resume workshops. We are also having an imposter syndromes panel at the during this semester, which is essentially talking about how sometimes you think that you can't do something because of your race or background, but that's not necessarily true. And so we're very excited about that as well. But yeah, if you want to with any of these things, just please make sure to check them. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And we had a follow-up question of what is Discord? So I know what Discord is, but does anyone want to give me a quick explanation of what that is?
Basically like a social media platform. It's like you host your own servers, and it's very like open API customizable. So you can like add all these features to your server and then host like voice channels, text chats, and it's just like a very open community-based servers that a lot of our clubs are operating in, game development especially.
Yeah, I think Discord is really useful for what you were saying, like the voice chat piece. So it's really easy to just all hop in the same voice chat rather than trying to set up, I don't know, a call between 20 people. And it has text-based chat, like a normal forum or something like that might as well too. So it's like different ways of communicating. So I know a lot of our organizations are using a platform like Discord or Slack or something like that to manage their events and opportunities digitally. So yeah, if you haven't heard about it, now is probably a good opportunity to learn a little bit more. Awesome. Any other thoughts on digital meetings, the events that your organization might be setting up, advice for attending digital meetings?
So SAIT gonna have the upcoming first meeting on this Thursday at 6 p.m. So yeah, we're gonna talk about mentorship program, Kickstarter programs, upcoming events, and we also have game night after that. So yeah, just come enjoy it. I'm gonna drop the Instagram link and the Discord link of SAIT, so you can join our Discord for more detail, because we're gonna post most of the announcement through Discord and on the Instagram page too. Yeah, so.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot coming up for everyone. So thank you for your little plugs for all of your events and things like that. I think that goes to show that even though we're in a challenging environment right now and things are not going to be the same as they might in a typical fall semester, our organizations are still working hard to create opportunities for you, to support you. And on the flip side of that, they're looking for people to participate in those things, So we don't know what is available to us until we go and seek it out. So yeah, because I didn't even know about all of the events that you just mentioned. So it just goes to show that there are opportunities with all of our organizations, and you just need to kind of seek those opportunities out. Does anyone have any closing thoughts on any of these questions about how you became involved, succeeding academically and juggling those responsibilities, benefits or skills, or any advice, or anything else that you want to say about your organization before we move out of the panel portion? I don't see any other Q&A questions for us, so I think that's good. All right, well, we'll get, oh, I think you're muted, Catherine.
I was just saying something to myself. That wasn't.
Oh, sorry. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you to all of you. I hope that was really insightful for folks and gave you a sense of the types of things that our student leaders do, what our organizations are looking for, and the kind of opportunities that they're providing. We're going to start winding down our program now and talking about a few other resources for you. So we learned a lot about our student organization community as a whole today, but obviously we haven't had the time to talk about individual organizations and those types of opportunities. Needless to say, there's a lot to explore as far as our community goes at San Jose State. But if you haven't seen an organization throughout the kickoff or in the kickoff materials that meets your interests, or if you haven't found the specific community you're looking for, students also have the ability to start their own organization at SJSU as well. The Start a New Org page of our website goes into this process in detail. But as a brief overview, students that want to start a new recognized student organization need to meet the criteria that you see on the screen here. And this is a very general overview, so there are additional requirements, but these are the big ones. So you need to have at least 5 students that are interested in being a part of that new organization, and 2 of those students need to be the president and the treasurer. For those 2 positions, we require a GPA over 2.0 for cumulative, which means all of the SJSU classes that you have taken. When added up all together, it needs to be at least 2.0. You also need an on-campus advisor, which is a faculty or staff member that is, another line of support for you in your organization. And you also need a constitution, which is a set of rules by which the business of your organization is dictated. Any interested students can learn more about this process by reaching out to us at studentorgs@sjsu.edu or navigating to the student involvement webpage that I mentioned. There's actually a 20-minute-ish recording presentation on how to start a new organization there. So that's a great place to get started as well, to see what's required of you and how the process works. And then finally, it's time to learn a little bit more about what specifically the kickoff has to offer. We're nearing the end of our time together today. So we're going to learn about the various resources that are available for you to engage with after this event. Our community of student organizations has been hard at work preparing events, opportunities, and materials to share about their club to interested students. And there are a variety of ways that you can view all of these materials that have been submitted. So first, one of the best ways to engage with our community, as we heard before from Jessica, is through the SJSU SAMI app. It has over 35,000 registered users. So pretty much everyone on campus uses it, and it's a very well-known thing. If you're not familiar with the SJSU SAMI app, if you go into your app store and type in San Jose State, it should be the very first app that pops up. And I like to refer to it as kind of the Facebook of SJSU. There's a wall feature where you can post things. All campus events will be posted in there. And every recognized student organization has a club page within the groups and clubs section of the app that Jessica mentioned. So it's kind of a matter of clicking into that section and scrolling through, as I said before, seeing what opportunities are available out there, what organizations exist right now, so that I can kind of narrow down that focus for myself a little more. Additionally, when you click into the app, you should see the virtual student organization kickoff tile in the featured area of the app. So the first thing when you open it up, you should be able to see it on our screen there, an example of what you might see. If you click into that tile, the student organization kickoff tile, it will link you to all of the materials that were submitted by our organizations. So there is a lot to explore in that tile as well about specific opportunities in the month of September that our organizations are putting on for students. So a lot of really relevant and cool stuff to look through there. Another great way to learn about our organizations is through the student involvement website, which is at sjsu.edu/getinvolved. If you click on Recognize Student Organizations at the top, you'll be taken to our student organizations landing page, where the same materials submitted by our organizations are visible for you to explore. And my Q&A folks in the chat, if they could link those, the website, as well as some of the other materials we'll be talking about, that will be great, so that they can be a part of our recording. So yeah, they're available on our website for you to explore as well. Additionally, students can learn so much more about all the other opportunities that student involvement has to offer through our website and navigating to other pages, such as learning more about fraternity and sorority life in the over 35 chapters that we have here at SJSU, You can prepare for the Spartan Leadership and Career Conference and learn a little bit more about that opportunity. And you can view all of the programs associated with Weeks of Welcome, which is a series of programs that SJSU puts on over a series of the first 6 weeks of school. Finally, if you aren't sure exactly what you're interested in, we can help you with that as well. We've linked the SJSU Student Organizations Interest Form, and that can be completed by students so that your information is shared with student organizations that are looking for new members. This can be a great idea for you to fill out if you're not really sure what you're interested in, you're not sure what step to take. So by filling out this form, you could potentially have organizations reaching out to you. And they could be organizations, you know, that you may have not noticed or overlooked. And so it's a great opportunity to see what's available and to kind of have those organizations come to you. So that is going to be a great opportunity if you're looking to get involved on campus. And then I skipped the third bullet point here, my apologies. But our organizations did create a series of videos for this kickoff event, introducing you to their community, what they're all about, and examples of some of the things that we've done. So we do have a pretty long YouTube playlist where we have compiled all of those videos for folks to view. So I highly encourage you to check out, see what's in that playlist. Like I said, there's a lot for you to potentially view and see. So there is so much out there for you to explore. All right, well, with that, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has tuned in today. And thank you just so much for spending your time with us and learning a little bit more about our community. I hope that this served as a good introduction to what student organizations at SJSU are and the opportunities that are available to you. And I'm really excited to see what our community is able to accomplish this academic year. If you have any questions, there are a variety of ways that you can reach out to us, whether that is our email addresses or following us on social media to stay, in touch with events, upcoming events and opportunities that are happening across campus. You can also sign up for our newsletter on our website, which you see there at www.sjsu.edu/getinvolved. We send out a newsletter on a monthly basis with all types of opportunities and information. So that's a great resource as well if you don't already get that newsletter. But with that, I want to say have a great day. Take care. And if you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. But yes, thank you so much for attending today.